To pile on. Megan Cassella is with us to help break down what we just heard. Megan, went after Spain, continued to praise NATO for increasing their defense spending. I'm curious what else you took on.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, most of this was on Iran. And there was one point that I think was the biggest headline from this news conference was the president saying that he did not care whether or not we had a formal agreement with Iran, with them pledging not to create a nuclear weapon. He says he doesn't think that that needs to be put in writing. He did say that he'll be meeting or at least talking with them next week, but he doesn't care if there's an agreement or not. That was a direct quote. So a big headline there and a big shift in that tone. He said maybe sometime in the future we'd want that, but at the moment he doesn't think it's necessary. On the Powell point, or the Fed chair point, I did think it was interesting that for the first time publicly he confirmed he has begun interviewing candidates to replace Powell. And he says he thinks he's within 3 or 4 candidates. He knows who he's going to choose, suggesting there's forward momentum there and that despite just how much time is left in Powell's term, I think it's about 10 or 11 months at this point, they are moving forward on that. Maybe we will ultimately see an early nomination. The other thing on Spain that I would flag, he's very angry because Spain is the one country that did not commit to this spending pledge to increase their defense spending. He was saying that he would make Spain pay in any trade deal because of that. He can't make Spain individually pay in trade negotiations because the European Union negotiates as a bloc. So it's only something that would be a punishment towards the entire bloc. I'll note, he can't do it towards Spain individually, but this is one more thorn then in the side with Europe. We already know those negotiations have been tough. It's one more thing that's on the table there.
Megan, I was going to ask you about Spain, and you made the point, of course, in terms of the potential negotiation. That said, we're dealing with a stock market right now that is not as focused any longer on the war between Iran and Israel, and perhaps will be refocused again on tariffs in July 9th. And the lack of trade deals, at least at this point, with so many of the countries that we thought might be close, whether it's India, South Korea, Japan. The EU doesn't seem to be. What are you hearing, or what are the expectations in terms of where we stand right now?
What we know is that they do keep saying there's one thing after the next that's been sort of filling the administration's plate ahead of the trade deals. First, it was the dust up with China that required everyone to go to Geneva and then London a few weeks back. They said that was why they hadn't gotten side deals. The latest we've heard this week is that the big, beautiful bill and those negotiations with Congress are now taking up some space and that the trade deals will come after that. It's also very possible, of course, everything that's been going on in the Middle East has been a distraction as well. So I highlight all of those because they've been talking about all the things they've been doing besides negotiating trade deals. They say that's why we haven't gotten these side deals yet. Of course, other countries say it's because the negotiations aren't done or they're not going well. There's different issues with each trading partner. That's all to say that when we get to this July 9th deadline, we've already heard the Treasury Secretary say if negotiations are ongoing, they might postpone it. I think it's very possible, and there's increasing expectation, I would say, that we will see the deadline extended, at least for some trading partners. It's definitely not set in stone, but part of me thinks that that's what they're laying the groundwork for here when they talk about all the things they've been doing that's distracted them from the trade negotiations.
Market doesn't seem worried about it, right?